Yes, a warm welcome back to Classic Dirt Bike TV and to our continuing coverage of the 2025 Bill Brown Classic Scramble here at Milnthorpe. Now, we've already had both of our paddock walkabout videos posted, so that takes care of that particular side of this event. But right now it's time to take in the footage from the Saturday and the Sunday. And we're going to start by taking a look at what went down on the Saturday's race programme. So without any further delay, let's get right down to the line and take a look at race one. Yes, hello again, and as I said, welcome back to Classic Dirt Bike TV as we begin our racing coverage from the 2025 Bill Brown Classic Scramble. So this is, of course, episode 1 of possibly 5 that we'll be posting, covering every single race from the Saturday's race programme, and we'll cover the first 2 blocks of racing on the Sunday. So to get us underway for our first race of the day, this is the British Championship Riders over 60s class. And so as our riders leave the line for our first race of the weekend, looks like Keith Best made a good start there on the CZ, followed by number 21, that's Ian Knight, on that lovely CR250 Elsinore that we had a look at in our paddock walkabout. So as the riders make their way round to begin lap 1, it is indeed number 160 Keith Best on the 250 CZ, who's your race leader. Ian Knight is currently in second on the 250 Honda Elsinore, with Adrian Lappin there, number 44, on that Cecil Pearson Jap in third. Number 62 in fourth position is Colin Hutton, and Colin again is riding one of those CZ Twinport 380. So as Keith Best crosses the line to start lap 2, he's still managing to keep Adrian Lappin behind him. Third position is still number 21 Ian Knight, but as you can see, the track conditions absolutely perfect for the Saturday's race programme. And as you can see, we've been certainly blessed with decent weather here in the UK for the last few weeks, and we've had some quite wet events here at this Westmoreland Showground racetrack in the past, but no such worries for this weekend, with perfect spring weather and the track in fantastic condition. But it looks like we've got a new race leader. Number 44 Adrian Lappin is now your new race leader on the Harry Stitt Jap. That's a special built Harry Stitt frame with one of Cecil Pearson's 600cc Jap engines in the frame. So you can see that Adrian's already starting to stretch a bit of a gap between himself and the second place man, number 160 Keith Best on the CZ, and this man here is currently in third position. That's Ian Knight. You may remember that was one of the nice bikes that we had a look at in our paddock walkabout. So this bike here of Adrian Lappin's is one of 6 Jap machines that Cecil Pearson's brought over from Northern Ireland. I think currently Cecil has about 9 of these Jap scramblers, but he's just brought the bare 6 along to this Bill Brown Classic event. But there's your second place man, Keith Best, on the CZ. Still going well there in second position. And of course, these first few races are the British Championship races, which are a little longer than the normal classic races, which are usually, I think, about 4 or 5 laps, but there's certainly a lot more at stake for these British Championship riders, with valuable points up for grabs towards their 2025 positions. So we're back with our race leader again, number 44, Adrian Lappin, on the Stitt Jap. And of course that engine that powers that bike is from the 1930s. These engines were originally designed to be used in speedway racing and run on methanol, of course, and not regular gas. Just going through there is number 721. That was Sean Lovegrove on his 1967 500 BSA. So we're back with our second place man, Keith Best. A nice looking two-stroke Czechoslovakian CZ, that bike. Of course, it's not got all of its original bits and pieces on it from way back in the day, but there's some very nice trick parts fitted to this bike, and as you can see, quite quick on the track as well. And so we've got 18 races to get through for the Saturday's race programme, so you'll be able to see every single race from Saturday, and it'll be 16 races from the Sunday's race schedule, because I had to cut that short as I had to leave earlier on the Sunday due to a prior engagement. But we've still got quite a good selection of classes for you to take a look at on this Sunday. So we're back with our race leader again, number 44, Adrian Lappin, one of the team of 4 riders that Cecil Pearson's got over from Northern Ireland. We've got Adrian Lappin here. We've also got James Thompson and Harry Stitt, and the relative youngster Callum Pearson as well. But a good scrap developing here at the front of this pack between Adrian Lappin and Keith Best. Keith looks like he's closing in, might be able to make a pass on Adrian in the next lap or two, because as I said, these are quite lengthy races in classic terms. As I said, normally these races are only about 4 or 5 laps, but these British Championship races are usually a lot longer. But it's a good scrap here at the front between Adrian Lappin and Keith Best in second position. Looks like Ian Knight is still currently in third on his 250 Honda Elsinore. Now, with regards to the British Classic Scramble Championship, I'm not entirely sure if this man here, number 44, Adrian Lappin, is actually registered in the British Championship this year, which probably will mean if he's not registered, he won't receive any points from this round here at the Westmoreland County Showground. But of course, Adrian will still win the race if he crosses the line ahead of Keith Best. But as far as I'm led to believe, Adrian isn't registered for this year's British Championship. But there's your second place man. It's still number 160, Keith Best, going quite well, but still unable to get close enough to make a pass on Adrian Lappin's Stitt Jap. And you can see in the background there, not a huge crowd here for the Saturday at the Westmoreland County Showground, but we did have a much bigger turnout for the Sunday, because we had quite a few more races to get through on the Sunday, so actually there was more spectators in attendance. But the track looking absolutely perfect at this time, a bit of dust flying around, but still perfect conditions as our race leader number 44 comes up to pass the boss. That is Cecil Pearson there, number 11, still racing his Japs, so well done to Cecil for taking part, and Adrian's certainly flying the flag here for the Jap boys from Northern Ireland. But just in case you're not familiar with these Jap racers, the engines are of course 1930s technology, and those engines run on methanol, as I said, not regular gas. And I often wondered what John Alfred Prestwich would think about his engines still being competitive here in 2025. In about another 5 years' time, these engines that power these bikes will be 100 years old, so it's certainly saying something for Prestwich's engineering skills. So there's your second place man, Keith Best, number 160, but this is the man of the moment at this time. It's number 44, Adrian Lappin from Northern Ireland, of course. And there's the man who owns all of these Jap racers. That's the man himself, the Jap master, Cecil Pearson. And I'm already looking forward to my annual trip to Northern Ireland to cover Cecil Pearson's charity 2-day event at Craig Antlet. So I'll be making the trip there in the middle of June, and of course you can see all of the bikes and all of the racing on the track from that event here on my YouTube channel soon after. But there's your second place man as he crosses the line to complete another lap. It's Keith Best. Looks like Adrian Lappin's beginning to open up a quite comfortable gap between himself and Keith on the CZ. And it also looks like it's Ian Knight who's currently in third position. So Ian as well going quite good on his 250 Elsinore. But Adrian Lappin certainly slipping and sliding his way around this racetrack on the Harry Stitt Jap machine. And as far as I'm aware, it's a 6-round championship for this British Classic event for 2025. This is of course the first round on the 26th of April, and the conclusion is their final round 6 on Saturday the 13th of September at Mortimer. So quite a busy British Classic Championship for these riders for 2025. We're looking at our third placed position rider, Ian Knight, who appears to be closing in on number 160. That's Keith Best. So it looks like Ian's going to have a go at Keith before the end of this race, because he's certainly closing in. I don't know if Keith's got some kind of problem with that CZ, but he's certainly slowed up significantly in this last lap or so. So it looks like Ian's going to have a go at these next few turns. So it looks like Ian's going to have a go down the outside, but can he make it stick? Yes, he can. That's a good move there by number 21, Ian Knight. That puts him up into second position, and it's Keith Best now in third, but just a few turns to go to the checkered flag for this man here, who's basically led this race from lap 1. So it looks like it's going to be the first win of the day for number 44, Adrian Lappin. And there's your second place man just making his way through number 21, Ian Knight. So as he crosses the line, it's a win for number 44, Adrian Lappin. Second place is number 21, Ian Knight on the 250 Elsinore, and it's going to be Keith Best who crosses the line in third position. So from race 1, that quite amazingly brings us on to race 2, which is the second British Classic Championship race for the pre-60s, pre-65s and the pre-1968s. Not a bad lineup for the second race of the day. I think there's about 17 riders in this particular race, so it looks like we're all good to go. The 15-second board is lifted and we're off and running. It's a good start there by number 26, James Thompson. Harry Stitz also made a good start on the outside, so it's Cecil Pearson Japs in positions at 1 and 2 as they go into turn 2. So as we begin lap 1, it's number 26, James Thompson, being chased by number 111, that's Harry Stitt. And that was Lee Kelly there, number 824, having a bit of a dice going up the hill there, but this is your second placed rider, number 111, Harry Stitt. And that's the same man that designed and built the frame on this bike that he's currently riding. So it's a Harry Stitt frame with that Cecil Pearson Jap in the chassis. So currently in third is that man there. I think that's number 457. That could be Mickey Allen on the big BSA Gold Star, and number 824 is Lee Kelly, who is currently in fourth position. So we've got another good scrap here between the two Jap riders, James Thompson, number 26, and Harry Stitt, number 111. And that bike that James Thompson is riding is one of the old Rickman chassis with the Jap motor. As we take a look at number 824, that's Lee Kelly on his lovely BSA. Lee's currently in third position. I think that's an old 1967 440 that Lee's riding, but there's your race leader crossing the line, James Thompson. Harry Stitt is currently in second position. Lee Kelly just coming across the line in third, and it still looks like it's Mickey Allen there in fourth position on the Gold Star, and number 55, it looks like another one of Cecil Pearson's Japs there. That's the youngster Callum Pearson on that particular bike. But Harry Stitt looks like he means business, and he's kind of lining up James Thompson for a pass here. So Harry Stitt absolutely flying on that Jap machine. Number 457 again is Mickey Allen on his lovely BSA Gold Star. So you can see just how quick these old Jap racers are, and they may be 1930s engineering, but they're still pretty damn quick in this modern day. And in fact, if you're one of these people who enjoy your statistics, then here's an observation I came across over the weekend. And when you look at the lap times of these antique Jap racers, these bikes were lapping this Westmoreland circuit within a few seconds of the fastest twin shock of the weekend. So that'll give you an idea just how quick these bikes are. So although these old Japs might be engineering from the 1930s, they're still quite hard to beat here in 2025. Anyhow, we're back with our third placed position rider. That's Lee Kelly on his BSA. So Lee Kelly going well. There's your fourth placed man, another Cecil Pearson Jap, number 55. That's Callum Pearson. As we take a look at some of the other riders making their way up the hill. But this young man has certainly got this Jap hooked up into this Westmoreland County Showground racetrack. Harry Stitt, as I said, the man that built the frame of this bike, and he's currently building another very special frame for Cecil Pearson to put another Jap engine in. So it looks like we're going to have 10 Jap bikes in Cecil's collection quite soon, and I'm looking forward to taking a look at that bike when I head over to Northern Ireland in the middle of June. Now, as you can see, this man is quite talented riding a bike, but he's also an accomplished engineer. He certainly knows how to build a motorcycle frame. As we take another look at Lee Kelly in third position. So Lee's having quite a decent race here on his BSA. We're taking a look at some of the other riders going through. Number 474 there, I think that could be Jack Austin on that lovely G80 matchless that we had a look at in our paddock video. But once again, another big shout out to the Westmoreland Motor Club, who have pulled off another fantastic Classic Scramble weekend, because I do know they've put in a massive amount of work to get this track all prepped and ready for this 2-day event. So a huge thank you there to all of the club members for their efforts, because I'm pretty sure that it took them almost a full week to get the track built and put everything in its place. And of course that's what you get with 115 years of experience doing these kind of classic scramble events. So again, well done to the Westmoreland Motor Club. So we're looking at number 302, that's Wayne Partington on the CZ, and number 651 is William Beatup on his lovely Tribsa. So it's still Harry Stitt, your race leader. These Jap engines, of course, dry sumps in the engine. The oil for the engine is stored in the front frame tube of the chassis, and it's then fed to a little pump on the outside of the engine that pumps the oil around the engine, and of course the excess just drips onto the ground, whereby that's why it's called a total loss oil lubrication. But when you fill the frame up, you usually get 2 or 3 races out of a fill. But Harry Stitt going very well here on this Pearson Jap. So it's still number 26, James Thompson, in second position. There's your third place man, number 824, Lee Kelly on the BSA. He's had another good ride in this race. As we take a look at number 302 again, that's Wayne Partington on the CZ, and number 651, William Beatup on his Tribsa. But as I said, quite long races, these British Championship races, much longer than the normal races that we would be watching on this track. I think the normal classic races would be about 5 laps maximum, but these British Championship races are much more involved and a lot longer than the standard classic races. There's your third place man again, Lee Kelly, just crossing the line on his BSA. So if he can keep this pace up, he should be in a decent position come the checkered flag. And it's still currently this man here, number 26, James Thompson, on the Rickman Jap powered machine. But it looks like number 474, that's Jack Austin. Looks like Jack's not going to be able to complete this race. It looks like he's got some kind of problem with his lovely matchless. But of course no such problems for this young man here, Harry Stitt. So Harry Stitt more or less has been leading this race from lap 1, and as he crosses the line to complete another lap, it's still this man here, James Thompson, currently in second position. So James going quite well on his Rickman Jap, but unfortunately not quick enough in this race to catch and possibly pass Harry Stitt. There's your third placed rider, number 824, Lee Kelly, and I think that's a 440 BSA Victor that Lee's currently riding, and he's going very well there in that third position. And just behind Lee Kelly we have this man here, number 55, that's Callum Pearson, riding another one of Cecil Pearson's Rickman Jap scramblers. But out in front it's still our race leader, number 111, Harry Stitt, looking good for his first win of the day. So things looking good for Harry Stitt as he crosses the line to start his final lap of this race. James Thompson is currently in second position. There's Lee Kelly just crossing the line in third, so Lee Kelly still going well on that older BSA. So as we head towards the eventual conclusion of this British Championship race, there's your second place man, number 26, James Thompson. So it looks like James is going to secure that runner-up position, barring of course any mechanical breakdowns in the last 2 or 3 turns. But here's the man that's dominated this race right from the start gate. It's number 111, Harry Stitt. So looks like Harry's throttled back ever so slightly as he cruises to cross the finish line. He takes a look back to see where the second place man is, but quite a comfortable win there for the youngster Harry Stitt. So it looks like it's going to be James Thompson, number 26, is going to take that coveted runner-up spot, and it looks like it will be Lee. Oh, I was going to say it looks like it's going to be Lee Kelly in third, but Lee Kelly appears to have had some kind of mechanical breakdown, so it's that man there who's taken third place. That's number 55. That's Callum Pearson. But that is a bit of a shame for Lee, because he was running quite steady there in third place, and I thought he had the third place in the bag, but obviously he's had some kind of mechanical issue with his BSA. But hopefully Lee will be back out for his next race. And so that brings us on to our third British Championship race of the day, and this is for the pre-1974 class. Not a big field of riders for this particular race, but certainly enough to make a race of it. So as the riders leave the line, it looks like Tim Dalloway is blasted down that inside and got the whole shot as they go into turn one. So it looks like Tim Dalloway's made a good start. Number 224 is Andy Hinchcliffe in second position on the CZ. So it's a cracking start by number 164, Tim Dalloway. Number 224 is Andy Hinchcliffe in second position, and I think it's 525 Dan Evans on the Myco, who's currently in third. You can just see Dan there on his Myco. It's a 400 bike, and that's one of the machines that we had a look at in our paddock walkabout, so this will give you an idea just how quick this 400 Myco is. So as they cross the line to complete lap one, it's Tim Dalloway, your race leader, from Andy Hinchcliffe in second. Third is Dan Evans. Number 873 in fourth position is Nathan Jones, and Nathan's on that Husqvarna 400. But it looks like Andy Hinchcliffe's made the move on Tim Dalloway, so it's Andy Hinchcliffe, your race leader now, from Tim Dalloway, number 164 on that BSA. Dan Evans is still currently in third position, with Nathan Jones in fourth. So these guys already opening up a bit of a gap between the third and fourth placed riders. So as they come across the line, it's now Tim Dalloway, your race leader, from number 224, Andy Hinchcliffe there on the CZ, and I think that's a 380 CZ that Andy's riding. Two very quick bikes, but of course completely different, with Tim Dalloway having the single cylinder 4-stroke and Andy Hinchcliffe with the Czechoslovakian 2-stroke CZ. Tim Dalloway, of course, easily recognised at these events with that bright orange helmet, which has been a trademark of Tim's for many years at these classic scrambles. But there's the battle for third and fourth as they make their way up the hill. It's Dan Evans on the Myco who leads Nathan Jones there in fourth place on the Husqvarna. So currently it's number 164, Tim Dalloway, on the BSA B44 500, who leads this man here, number 224, Andy Hinchcliffe. Another very quick motorcycle, as you can see. So as they complete lap 2, it's still Tim Dalloway from Andy Hinchcliffe in second. And you can see the condition of the track is absolutely perfect. The dust is just about beginning to fly, but thankfully it didn't get too bad on the Saturday. And here's the battle for third and fourth between number 525, that's Dan Evans on the Michael, who leads Nathan Jones on that 400 Husqvarna. So there's a good scrap going on for first and second, and also a good scrap here for this third and fourth placed positions. And it looks like this man here, number 99, Greg Speed, is in fifth position on that beautiful Shenny BSA. So that was another one of the bikes that we had a look at during our paddock walkabout weekend. We're currently looking at number 103. That's the youngster Dylan Brown on his 400 Husqvarna. So he's going quite well on one of these Swedish two-stroke machines. So you can see Dylan Brown there just crossing the line to complete another lap, but it seems to be like we seem to have lost Andy Hinchcliffe, number 224, who was currently in second position. So I don't know what's happened to Andy Hinchcliffe, because he doesn't seem to be in the same position that he was in the previous lap. So I don't know if he's had some kind of mechanical breakdown at the far side of the track, but we're still looking at number 99, Greg Speed, on the Shenny BSA. So I think that will move Greg up a spot, so he's probably in fourth position as it stands. So Greg's another rider that's going well on the Shenny, although it's listed in the programme as a BSA Shenny, but as I remember, that bike had a Triumph twin motor in the chassis. So we're looking at number 186 there. That's Steve Van Dome, or Van Dome. Sorry about the pronunciation there, Steve. If it's not correct, then my apologies. But Steve's going very well there on that 1972 250 Suzuki TM. So he's certainly got that little Suzuki working well around this Westmoreland racetrack. Right, so we're back with our race leader, number 164, Tim Dalloway, and as far as I'm aware, it's still Dan Evans in second position on the Michael, with Nathan Jones on the Husqvarna in third, and I think it could be Greg Speed who's currently in fourth position. So Tim Dalloway going very well there on the old BSA. As we take another look there at number 103, Dylan Brown on his 400 Husky. So we're back with number 186 again, Steve Van Dom, and he's got that. He's got his chin down on the handlebars there to squeeze every bit of aerodynamic propulsion out of that little TM 250. But he's certainly going well, and this is another bike that you very seldom see at classic scrambles these days. These old TMs, which of course were the forerunner of the Suzuki RMs, but Steve absolutely going flat out here on the little TM. So we're back with Tim Dalloway again, our race leader. Tim obviously registered with the British Classic Championship, so if he wins this race, that will be valuable points towards his title challenge by the end of the year. So at this point in the race, he's looking good and quite comfortable there in first position. Here's the battle for second and third. It looks like yes it is, Dan Evans has still got that second position from Nathan Jones in third. but Tim Dalloway absolutely cruising round this Westmoreland Showground racetrack. There's your second place man, Dan Evans, on the 400 Michael, so he's also going well, but he's still a little bit down the track from Tim Dalloway, but he crosses the line to complete another lap with Nathan Jones right on his back wheel. So this is a good scrap here for the second and third placed positions. So these two have certainly been at it since the gate dropped for the start of this race. I think they've changed positions a couple of times during the race, but as it stands, it looks like Dan Evans has got the advantage, but Nathan Jones blasts down the inside there, so Nathan Jones has moved up into second position. So Dan's going to have to do it all again if he wants to get that track position back. And there's still no sign of Andy Hinchcliffe, so I think his bike must be either broken down at the far side of the track, so there's certainly no sign of him on the racetrack. He was in second position at the start of this race, but he appears to have disappeared from the scoreboard, but no such problems for this man here, Tim Dalloway, as he crosses the line to complete another lap. We are looking at the battle for second and third positions, and it's currently Nathan Jones in second. Dan Evans on the Michael is currently third, so this has been another good ride by Nathan Jones here on the 400cc Swedish Husqvarna. And of course the lap times and the track positions on each of these bikes is all recorded electronically every time they cross the finish line, because each bike has an electronic transponder fitted to it, so when they cross the line their track position and lap time is recorded. So we're looking at our third placed rider, Dan Evans. Greg Speed still going quite well. I think Greg's currently in fourth position on the Shenny BSA Triumph. Make that of what you will, but it's certainly listed in the programme as a Shenny BSA, so as far as I'm concerned, it's a Shenny frame with a Triumph twin 400 motor in the chassis. So we're back with our race leader, Tim Dalloway, as he crosses a line to begin his final lap of this British Championship race. So we're looking again at number 186, Steve. He nearly caused a bit of a ruckus there going into that turn, but Steve's riding his own race, as you can see, on the little TM 250. He's certainly going well on that little 1972 bike. But definitely nice to see one of these TMs take to the track again. So that's number 186 there, Steve Van Dom, or Vanny as he's known to his friends. So here's the battle for second and third. It's still Nathan Jones in second with Dan Evans in third, but just a couple of turns to go to chalk up his first win of the Saturday. So it looks like it's going to be quite easy a run to the checkered flag for this man here, number 164, Tim Dalloway, on that lovely BSA 500 Victor. So it's the first win of the day for Tim Dalloway. We're just looking on our second man coming across. It's going to be Nathan Jones in second position, with Dan Evans on the Michael, who's going to cross the line in third. Right, so we're moving on to our next race, which of course is race 4, and this is the Clubman support class. A decent turnout of Clubman riders for this race, and although these guys are just Clubman racers, there's some pretty quick riders in among this bunch of classic scramblers. Looks like number 16 has made a fantastic start there down on the inside. That looks like that could be Stephen Shuttleworth on the big Yamaha 4-stroke. That was another bike that we had a look at in our paddock walkabout. So it is indeed number 16. That's Stephen Shuttleworth in first position. I think it's number 159 in second. I think that was Kevin Allen on the big KTM 4-strokers. So Stephen Shuttleworth certainly off to a flyer on that Terry Mead built chassis. And this bike's got a big 4-stroke TT500 inside the chassis. It's not a full HL Yamaha, of course, because original HL Yamahas are almost impossible to find, but nevertheless it's a very quick motorcycle that Stephen Shuttleworth's got underneath him. And it is indeed number 159, not 169 as I mentioned earlier. It's number 159, Kevin Allen in second position on the big KTM 600, another big Rotax 4-stroke thumper. A lovely bike this, and as you can see, quite quick on the track as well. In third position, just going through there, is number 3, that's John Pepper on his 400 Maiko from 1978. So Stephen Shuttleworth certainly off to a blinder of a start here in this race with that lovely 4-stroke Yamaha. There's your second place man just about to cross the line. That's Kevin Allen on the 600 KTM, and it looks like he's been chased now by number 26. I think that's Scott Walker, who's also on a 440 at 78 Michael. So Scott Walker is certainly hounding down Kevin Allen, so it's going to be a good scrap here between the big 4-stroker and the German made Michael. And that 440 engine that's in Scott Walker's bike, I do remember that engine well because it was an identical engine that was in my 1980 Michael when I used to go down the track. I've got to choose those words carefully. I don't want to say racing because I didn't actually race, I just went round the track. We're taking a look at number 34 there. That's Bradley Walker on his 500 Husky. And this Stephen Shuttleworth Terry Mead TT500 Yamaha bike is, of course, one of two almost identical bikes that Stephen brought along to this event. And I do remember him saying that his son is going to be racing this bike on the Sunday, so we'll have to look out for that when we get around to the Sunday's race programme. But he's certainly looking good on this 4-stroke Yamaha at this point in the race. Now, this bike of Stephen Shuttleworth's I don't think it's meant to be a copy of an HL, but as I said, original HLs are like hen's teeth to find because they didn't make that many of them in the first place, but there are certainly plenty impersonations of the original HLs out there. So we're looking at number 19 there. That's Mark Tilsley on his YZ Yamaha, so it looks like he's had some kind of mechanical issue. As we take a look at number 98, that's Elliot Palliser on the 490 S1 twin shock Michael. But no question, this has been a fantastic ride from this man here, number 16, Stephen Shuttleworth, as he crosses the line to start his final lap of this Clubman race. So it's been a very good start to the day for Stephen Shuttleworth on that Terry Mead TT500 Yamaha. And I'm not entirely sure as to what Stephen's lap times are, but he appears to be quite quick for a clubman racer, so he's certainly dominating this first clubman class race of the day. In second position is, I think it's still number 26, Scott Walker, who is now second on the 400 Michael. You can just see Scott going through there, and we are looking to the far side of the track, and the boy in the red there, that's number 78. That'll be Paul Martin on the 250 CR Honda, and you may remember that nice Ancelotti that we had a look at in the paddock. Well, that's the owner of that particular machine. Now, this is an absolute legend in motocross that we're looking at now. This is the guest of honour for this weekend, the captain, as he's known. That is, of course, Bill Brown, Mr. Worldsport. Bill's out there riding his 490 Michael, so he's our guest of honour for this weekend. But it's a win for number 16, Stephen Shuttleworth, with number 26, Scott Walker, in second position. So we're going to go straight into our next race, which of course is race 5, and this is the combined support pre-1978 and pre-1974 class. Not a huge field of riders, but we were certainly blessed with decent rider fields on the Sunday's race programme, so look out for those races when we eventually get around to posting them. So as the riders leave the line, it's a good start by Harry Stitt on the outside there. Andy Hinchcliffe is on the left, so he appears to have got his CZ back up and running as he disappeared in a previous race, but Harry Stitt is again off to a flying start as they make their way up the hill. So as the riders make their way round on lap 1, it's that man again, number 111, Harry Stitt, your race leader, from this man here, number 224, Andy Hinchcliffe. So whatever problems Andy had in that previous race, he appears to have got them sorted out, because he's absolutely flying again in second position as he comes round to complete lap 1. So this could be a good race here between Harry Stitt on the Stitt Jap and Andy Hinchcliffe on the Czechoslovakian CZ 2-stroke. So we've got Harry Stitt from Northern Ireland in pole position, being chased by Andy Hinchcliffe from Norwich. So it looks like we've got Northern Ireland versus England here in positions 1 and 2. Currently in 4th position, just coming around the corner now, is number 103. That's Dylan Brown again on the 400 Husqvarna, and that's Andy Mallock from Scotland just making his way through on his CZ. So you can see that there's not much between these two quick riders at the front. Andy Hinchcliffe more or less on the back wheel of that Jap powered machine, but as they come to cross the line to complete another lap, it's still this man here, Harry Stitt, number 111, who has already won a race here this afternoon. So looks like he's in a commanding position at this stage, but of course anything can happen in the remaining laps of this race. So Harry Stitt at this point looking good for win number 2. So Andy Hinchcliffe just making his way through there, and we are looking at the battle for 3rd and 4th positions. It's still number 103, Dylan Brown on the 400 Husqvarna. Dylan's went really well in that previous race, so it looks like he's in a good position yet again. And of course, this is a combined race between the pre-78s and the pre-74s. So although these two riders here are running in positions 1 and 2, that doesn't mean to say that that will be the eventual finishing positions, because they will be scored individually in their respective classes as they cross the finish line. But Harry Stitt looks like he's certainly leading the pre-1974 part of this race. Andy Hinchcliffe is currently in second position on the 380 CZ. Well, it doesn't look like Andy at this point in the race is close enough to do anything about Harry Stitt in the first position, but still riding well as we take a look at the battle for third and fourth, and it's number 103. That's Dylan Brown in third position, and number 686 just behind him there is Gary Collinall on the Bultaco 250 Parsang. So Gary's already moved up into that fourth place position. So it looks like Harry Stitt has quite a commanding lead on this race. So the next time he crosses the line, he'll be starting his final lap of this combined pre-78 and pre-74 race. So Harry Stitt could be on his way to his second win of the afternoon. But as I said earlier, it's quite amazing just how competitive these Jap engines are in this modern day. As I said, they were designed way back in the 1930s by John Alfred Prestwich, and as you can see, they're still highly competitive here in 2025, especially in the hands of that man there, Harry Stitt. So second position should still be this man here, number 224, Andy Hinchcliffe. So it looks like Andy's going to chalk up some valuable points in this race. And in third position, you've still got Dylan Brown there on his 400 Swedish Husqvarna. And so as our race leader heads towards the checkered flag, it looks like it's going to be win number 2 for the young man from Northern Ireland, number 111. That's Harry Stitt, and looks like it's going to be Andy Hinchcliffe who's going to cross that line in second position. So another very good win there by Harry Stitt, and Andy Hinchcliffe cruising across the finish line to take that runner-up spot in second position. So just to conclude this part 1 episode from the Saturday's race programme, we have the Support pre-78s and the Support Twin Shock 125 class. And a good turnout of riders for this class. So as they leave the line, it's a cracking start there by number 22. I think that's Peter Carr on the big 500 4-stroke Yamaha XT. So Peter's made quite a decent start as they go into the turn. So we've got a nice variety of bikes in this combined class between these big 4-stroke Yamaha bikes that Peter Carr is currently leading on to the much smaller 2 strokes of the little 125. So it is number 22, Peter Carr, your race leader, as he comes along to cross the line to complete his first racing lap. So Peter is leading the pre-78 part of this class, and second position or first position on the track for the 125s is Alex Martin, number 78. And you can see that we've also got number 186 back out on the track again, Steve Van Dom. You may remember that Steve was riding his little TM in a previous race, but it looks like Peter Carr's got some kind of problem with his big XT 500. see him fiddling about with the fuel cap there, so I don't know if it's maybe an air blockage or a fuel problem, but it looks like he's up and running once again. So it's still Peter Carr, your race leader at this point. We're looking at number 51 there. That's Martin Stokes on his 125 Honda. And so this young man here, number 78, Alex Martin, is now currently leading this race, and of course leading the 125 part of this combined race. It's number 22, Peter Carr, in second position on the track, but he'll be leading the pre-78 part. So some quick riders in this particular class. Number 86 just making his way through there is Mike Dawson on his Honda CR 125. So there's your second place man on the track. Number 22, Peter Carr. Number 51 again is Martin Stokes. Number 194 is Mark Sheldon. And number 161 just making his way through is Joseph Dent, and he's also riding a Honda CR 125. You're taking another look at number 194, that's Mark Sheldon, on his 1980 Suzuki RM 125. So still at the front of the pack, it's Alex Martin on his CR125, a very popular bike with riders in the 125 class. So Alex looking very good at this point as he comes round to cross the line to complete another racing lap. And just behind Alex, it's still number 22, Peter Carr, on the big four-stroke XT Yamaha, but it looks like Martin Stokes is closing in on Peter Carr's big four-stroke thumper. So Martin Stokes looks like he's on a charge here to take that second place position from Peter Carr. So you can see we've got quite a good contrast between the different machines here, between Peter Carr's big 500cc four-stroke thumper and Martin Stokes' relatively small CR125 two-stroke Honda. This little Honda, of course, will be a bit nimbler through the corners, but when it gets into the open spaces, this big four-stroke thumper of Peter Carr's will certainly blast away. That's number 161, that's Joseph Dent. He appears to have stopped or dropped his bike into one of the corners, and hopefully he'll be able to get it started and back on track once again. We're taking a look now at number 87, that's John Kemp on his little 125 Honda. That's another bike that we had a look at in our paddock walkabout, but as the race leaders cross the line, it's still number 78, Alex Martin, who leads this man here, number 22, Peter Carr, on the big XT 500 Yamaha. And of course we will be back shortly with the continuing racing from the Saturday's race programme. So we've still got quite a lot of races to get through before we've finished with the Saturday's races. So currently it's this man here, number 22, Peter Carr, who now leads at number 78, Alex Martin. But of course these two bikes will possibly be riding in two different classes. Number 585 is Joshua Todd on his CR125 Honda. And Josh is just slightly ahead of number 77 there. That's Stephen Goodfellow on the RM at Suzuki. And so as our front runners make their way towards the checkered flag, it's going to be a win for this man here, number 22, Peter Carr, on the XT 500 Yamaha. So Peter's going to win the pre-78 part of this race, and it's going to be a well-deserved win for that young man there, number 78, Alex Martin, on the little Honda CR 125. So that just about concludes everything that went down for the first episode from the Saturday's race programme. But of course, coming up next, we will have more racing highlights from the Saturday here at the Westmoreland County Showground. So hope you'll join us for part 2, which will be coming very soon. So for the time being, thanks for watching, and it's goodbye for now.